My name is Petula and this is All Things Agile. Hello, this is video number 4 in a series of 5. In this series, we are discussing the 5 values of Scrum. So we have talked about courage, we have talked about focus, respect, and today it is all about openness. The dictionary reads having no enclosing or confining barrier, or completely free from concealment, exposed to general view or knowledge. That is such a great definition because it is easy to remember openness as being non-judgmental. It is definitely a concept to keep, but I find that openness as a value in Scrum goes way beyond that. If you piggyback on the definition we just heard, it really has to do with this limitless expansion. You have no boundaries for growth. We're talking here learning, we're talking quality, we're talking value. And then there is also another aspect of openness, which is basically being inviting to be scrutinized. We're talking about transparency. We are talking about being an open book. The first thing I can think of for a Scrum team to lean in on openness is transparency. What is that? Well, it is I have a clear backlog, a compelling backlog, a public backlog somewhere, so people understand what is the product and where it's going. I also have it very clear and very accessible, the state of affairs. So what are the things being done? What are the things not done? That is really the first thing you would expect of the Scrum team when it comes to openness. The second thing would be more related to what we normally associate with openness no matter what, which is diversity of thought. A Scrum team is constantly tackling complex problems. I don't know about you, but the way I know how to address complexity is by using perspective, creativity, and those things really require that you invite a lot of divergent opinions. Then I would say that you also have empiricism on the openness part. I think empiricism elevates openness for Scrum because the Scrum team doesn't dismiss an idea right at the beginning. They create an experiment, they study, they learn, and then they make an informed decision based on tested knowledge, as opposed to be relying on old adages and preconceived notions. On that note, we have mistakes, of course, and Scrum teams are really asked to constantly acknowledge their mistakes and even parade them as learning. And that is a good thing because once you start sharing all the learnings, all the lessons, mistakes now are no longer a shameful thing, and they shouldn't be, right? Mistakes are an intrinsic part of learning. You would not shame a toddler that is trying to walk and just fell. So companies need to do the same, and if they want to expand, to grow and learn, they need to encourage their teams to do absolutely just that. Last but not least, I find the framework particularly open. You might disagree, but I do feel that Scrum is primed in a way for all the events really are open to receiving some sort of feedback. So even on the planning, if you think about it, we are open for whichever decision making that's going to happen there. And then you have the daily scrums in which we're actually open to adjusting whatever needs to be adjusted. Then you have, the well-known retrospective, which is absolutely open for learning. Like any of the other values, you can measure openness in a quantitative way or in a qualitative way. When I want to go on the quantitative route, honestly, offering that simple gauge like we've done before, it is really, really simple. I actually like to use that for level setting as a check-in activity, in a sprint planning or in a sprint retrospective. I think that definitely helps everybody to understand where their minds are at, and we then prepare to the level of openness of the exchanges. We set the expectations right for that day. Then if you want to go on the qualitative route, let's take a look at some questions to see how do we measure that for the team. Is the sprint goal, the sprint board, and the artifacts visible? Is the pipeline of work visible? So in a software company, for example, can people see the status of the builds and of the environment? Is the product backlog neatly organized and publicly visible somewhere? Do the team members admit their mistakes to each other? Do they help each other to fix mistakes, no matter who did it? Does the team share opinions freely? That's it for openness in Scrum teams in a nutshell. If you have been following the series all along, make sure to get a copy in the description down below of a checklist that I prepared with just a series of questions that you could be using to gauge your teams as far as the Scrum values. I will catch you in the next video, the final one, in which we will talk about commitment. I'll see you then. Bye.